If you're ready to make your Football Manager 26 more immersive to keep your suspension of disbelief going, I've got 5 fixes for you today that'll do just that. We're going to talk about face packs, name packs so that the leagues are titled what they actually are in real life, fixing the German and Japanese national teams, both men and women's, logo packs, and last but not least, making sure your database is set up for your save so that it remains immersive decades into the future. The end result will be something like this, where La Liga is called La Liga and all of the team names are correct. Those teams' players have photos instead of the black silhouette, such as with this team, Deportivo La Coruña. Here's an example of what that face pack looks like. And the German and Japanese national teams have actual players and not grayed out random ones. To achieve all this, we are going to have to visit a variety of websites that are available that have these various fixes for you. I'm going to highlight 5 of them for you, but they pretty much have the same thing. But there is a bit of variety about what downloads are available where. It kind of depends on what style you're looking for because, for example, you can get logo packs that are very shiny or look like they're wet or are metallic, or you just want some standard ones. The first of which is sortitoutsI.net. They have a variety of downloads, and I should say before we get in further on these, pretty much all of these sites have a premium, faster download that charges $5 or $10 a year or something like that. There are ways for you to download the same files, but just doing it slower, it kind of depends on what's most important to you. FM Scout is another place. I don't like it as much because it is covered with ads, but they're all kind of like that. Passion 4 FM with the number 4 is a relatively new, at least in my experience, site. I hadn't used it a couple years ago when I stopped putting videos on my channel, but it is a nice resource. And for the face pack that I use, they have their own website and it's df11faces.com. The links to all of these will be in the description below. And I missed one, footballmanagergraphics.com is where I got my logo packs this year. So why do we have to do this anyway? It comes down to licensing. For example, I was pretty disappointed that both the French and Spanish leagues on the women's side were not licensed coming into FM26. I was actually planning on doing a beta save with PSG, and since they don't have the license, they can't use the official names or logos in the game. But SI have always kind of looked the other way as the modding community has stepped up to make the game more immersive. This doesn't just apply to the Spanish or French leagues, it's pretty much every league you could ask for. Serie A is another one. They have a license with another game, so the names of the teams in stock vanilla, if you will, FM26 are gonna look a bit odd to you. And if you're worried about modifying files on your computer, there are a multitude of guides on how to do it. It's really simple. Make a backup of your files if you want to before you get started. But I highly recommend this because it definitely increases immersion. There's just a massive difference if you go look at Spain and see La Liga instead of men's first division, or Liga F instead of women's first division. Now, I do want to give credit where it is due, and the first person I'm going to highlight is going to be Dodgy Gamer. He's an FM content creator I've known for quite some time. He actually supports the channel. Hi, Dodgy. But he did a video here that is, if you only want to just fix Germany and Japan and leave everything else the same, there is a file that you can delete. He walks through how to do it. And I'm giving him a shout out because this has been a problem in FM since I've been playing. I just forgot that it existed, that the national teams were gray fake players until his video. Thanks, man. And the second person I'm going to highlight is going to be Second Yellow Card. He's one of the OGs, if you will, of the FM content creation community. In his video here, the Ultimate FM26 Database Setup Guide, it's about 10 minutes long. It's incredibly worth your time because he's done a lot of benchmark testing and explains why the changes that you make at the very beginning of a new save can impact it long term. It's a phenomenal watch. I highly recommend you watch it. Both of those videos are going to be linked in the description. Popping in here real quick to ask you a question. In the last couple of weeks, my channel has gotten over 1,000 extra subscribers and tens of thousands of views, which has kind of blown me away. But I'm curious, at some point, I need to stop just talking about Sports Interactive's decisions around FM26 and actually start playing the game. So what kind of content do you want to see? Are you more of an experiments person, a long-term save person, streaming, or something in between, maybe mixing all those things together? I want to hear from you so I can continue to make content that you enjoy. So leave your comments below, and while you're there, hit that like and hype button. Thanks. For me, the most important thing to fix first is faces. That's because as humans, we connect with faces. So seeing a black silhouette in your game reduces immersion. It's like, oh, I wonder what that person actually looks like. The face packs I have always used has been DF11. It's a rather large file. They do have a men's and a women's face pack. They are two separate downloads. The women's is just 146 megabytes. They do have a direct download for it. The men's mega pack is a bit different, where you can torrent it doing peer-to-peer, kind of like Napster back in the day, if you will, for free, because it's 13.8 gigabytes. It's 244,000 pretty much photos, or you can pay €5 and get the mega pack Lite, which is the same number, but probably compressed a little bit, and it downloads it off of Google Drive or OneDrive. The thing I find interesting about DF11 is they put out updates every month with additional packs that you can then download separately. So essentially, once you've downloaded this massive file, you can keep it updated. And so every time FM comes out, you don't have to download a massive file every time. You just download the months that you missed in between, and it updates it for you. Once you have the file downloaded, it's super easy. And there's instructions in all of these downloads, but I'm just going to show you because I know some people are like, I don't know what to do about this. So there's really two places that you need to be aware of for any of these downloads. Anything graphic related, so your logo packs and your face packs, you're going to go to your documents folder. You go to your C drive, then you go to your username, then you go to documents, and inside of documents, you're going to see, for me, the various football managers I still have installed on my machine. You're going to go to Football Manager 26. You're going to create, if you don't have one, if you've not done this before, you're going to create it, a graphics folder, and then you can just put your mega pack there. You can copy and paste or really extract from the compressed file straight into the graphics folder. As you can see here, I had to create a folder for logos for the logo pack that I used, and then you just copy and paste once you've downloaded it as well. And what's neat about these packs is that they also write the configuration file, so like you're not having to do literally anything. You just copy and paste into the graphics folder that you create, refresh your game, and everything works. The next step in reclaiming your immersion is a licenses fix or a league name fix. This year, I used the one on Sorted Out SI. It has very clear instructions. I'll just scroll down here for you on where to go. If you are only using an FM26 new save, and I should point out, you have to do these changes on the licenses fix before the save. If you're already 6 months into a new save, it will not apply to that. That's a very important thing to remember. But if you're planning on just playing a new save in FM26 and you're not bringing in any of your FM23 or FM24 saves with you, then you don't need to worry about these other folders that it shows. You just need to focus on the 2600, which is essentially FM26.00 version. The instructions are very clear. I'm going to show them to you anyway, just so that we've got it. You're going to go find where your Steam apps are located. I don't actually install mine on my C drive. I install them on a separate drive. I keep all of my Steam and game stuff separate. But essentially, you're going to find your program files. On Windows, it usually says program files parentheses x86. Then you're going to click on Steam, then go to Steam apps, then go to common. Then you can see the list of games. You're going to click on Football Manager 26, then shared, then data, then database, then DB. And then you're going to follow the instructions, which with this licenses fix is essentially delete all the folders and copy and paste the folders that we've given you. The interesting thing is that name fix will also fix the Germany and Japanese national teams. If you're not wanting to mess with anything except fix Germany and Japan, well, you should go watch Dodgy Gamer's video, which has the link in the description below, because there's a file in one of these folders called fake, and you just delete that. As you can see with the logo packs, there are a ton of varieties. You can get them from standard to, I don't know what FMG versus FMV means. It doesn't really matter. You can take a look at what these look like. I guess this has got like a spotlight on it if you compare the two. I just like the standard look, so I went with standard. Again, it has instructions on how to do it. You do have to register on this website, but it's free to enable the download. And then as a reminder, you go back to that documents folder that I showed you originally. You create logos folder, you go into that folder, and you copy and paste the logo pack. I think all of these fixes really do help with immersion just in your game, and it starts at the beginning. So again, you have to do this before you start a save. The logo packs and face packs you can change whenever, but the name fixes and licenses and the Germany and Japan national teams have to be fixed before you start a save. If you've already started, the game is gonna just work as it did out of the box. But it helps things not be broken. For example, If you've got German players that are national team caliber, they would never get to go on international breaks. And at some point in the future, if international management comes back to FM26 as promised, maybe this goes away and this is fixed. But otherwise, the national teams of both of those countries have gray out players and they're not real. It's just fake. And you'd have to imagine that kind of skews results in things like the Euros or the World Cup. But the last thing I want to introduce you to, and then I'll send you off to go see Second Yellow Card's video about it, is the database setup and how that impacts your long-term save. So what we're talking about here is if you click Start New Career on FM26, it brings you to this screen, and you're gonna click Advanced Setup Career. And it might take you to a screen like this. I've got the big 5 or 6, I guess if you include the Netherlands in there. And depending on the leagues that you have loaded and whether you make them playable or view only, obviously, your player count in the database is going to change. That's at the beginning when you start your save. That number will fluctuate over time, and the settings that you can change here are based on whether you make leagues playable, view only, and things like if you click on here and you go to custom, the various items that you're going to select for your database. So Second Yellow Card has essentially provided it's like a less than a megabyte file download where you can click load and then load the file in, and it will automatically apply those settings. But you really should go watch the video. It articulates things like how many players come through youth intakes, which in a short-term save is probably not important to you, but in a long-term save, if you get the settings wrong at the beginning, it can really break stuff down the line. He also has some really interesting statistics about how slow or fast the game is in comparison to FM24 with the exact same settings. My friends, that's what I'm here to show you. You can see my lovely unemployed manager there, but I cannot recommend doing all of those fixes all at the same time. If you're like me, you've kind of been dabbling in FM26 before committing to a long-term save. We still don't know if that's truly a safe thing to do. They could push out some other massive update that isn't save compatible. But if you're just getting started out, I'm pretty confident you can go ahead and get started. Either way, having these fixes in place will help you going forward. The only other thing to note about these is every time SI pushes out an official like winter update, you get the thing at the beginning where the game launches, and then after the January transfer window, you'd get a winter update. That winter update, if you start a new save after the point that they update the game, it will be broken again and you'll have to go back and do all the fixes again. So for now, you should be good to download all these files, update your FM26, and be good until the next significant update that isn't a patch, like a content update that they've mentioned before. Having real league names, having national teams with actual players, having logos in every league, and the team names being correct as well is absolutely massive. Maybe you don't care as much about the player photos. I find it much more engaging to be able to see all that. They load when you go to like the match preview and the players are walking out and it shows the formations. You can see all the players that you're playing against. It just helps with that immersion that some of us have been feeling has been missing. I should also mention there are face packs for new gens. Some people call them regens. Essentially those youth intake players that get added into the database over time that obviously aren't real people. I find updating those to be a bit more challenging. I haven't done that yet, and that's partially because I haven't really gotten into a full long-term save yet. But the sites that I've mentioned today can get those for you as well. This obviously won't fix all of your immersion, but it is a step in the right direction. If you found this video helpful, a like or subscribe and a comment really do help the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.